In the 19th century, hot whispers about a strange idea began to make rounds. This idea challenged everything that historians believed about human civilization. Because this time, it was not about Atlantis or ancient Egypt, nor was it about Mesopotamia. It was about a continent that came before these civilizations, a lost world called Mu. And it all started with a man called Augustus Le Plongeon, a 19th century archaeologist who spent his career studying Mayan ruins. He was known for arguing about how the Yucatan civilization was older than Egypt, but no one expected this archaeologist to dig even deeper. Out of the blue, Le Plongeon claimed that a continent called Mu once existed, and ancient Egypt stemmed from it. He insisted that during his study of Mayan texts, the strange language spoke of a great civilization that preceded all known history. To make it worse, according to Le Plongeon, this great civilization was swallowed up by the sea. Le Plongeon believed that the Mayan civilization was not self-made, but rather descended from the refugees of Mu who fled after their homeland was swallowed up. However, his ideology was too radical to pursue. He could not say where this civilization once existed or what could have happened to them. And if they did exist, where was the proof of their existence? Because Le Plongeon lacked substantial proof of his belief, the whispers of Mu were soon swept under the carpet. This was until it intrigued one man, James Churchward. Suddenly, the rejected idea rose to the surface again. Why? Churchward didn't just think that Mu existed, he had proof. In 1926, a British writer published the Holy Grail of ancient civilizations. His name was James Churchward, and his three-part book series was titled The Lost Continent Mu, The Children of Mu, and the Sacred Symbols of Mu. In these books, Churchward told a tale that mesmerized all who heard it. With his testimony, the doubts that Mu existed were halted, page after page. According to Churchward, 50 years before he published his book, he was a soldier in India. During his service time, he befriended a high-ranking temple priest who showed him the unspeakable. That fateful day, Churchward said he was having a friendly chat with his priest friend when the conversation turned serious. The temple priest had something to show the officer, and it was unlike anything Churchward had ever seen. The priest brought out stone tablets that looked old. On these tablets there were written messages in a language that was too complex for Churchward to decipher. According to Churchward, the tablets were sunburnt, and although they looked like stone on the outside, they were built with clay. The language in the tablets was called the Naga Maya language. This was a long-lost language understood by only 2 other people in India at the time. But Churchward was interested in interpreting the message on these tablets, so he made a deal with the priest. Teach me the dead language, and I will restore and store the tablets for you. At the time, James Churchward was also known for properly storing ancient artifacts. This seemed like a good bargain to his friend, the priest. And once this deal was settled, Churchward began a difficult journey to unravel what was written on the stone tablets. When he did understand them, he wrote in his book that the tablets originated from the place where man first appeared, Mu. But that was not all. The world was not ready for the detailed description that would emerge from Churchward's understanding of the Naga Maya language on the tablets. The story on the tablets kicks off with the creation of planet Earth Mu and the superior human civilization that lived within. The people of Mu were called the Nakal, and of course, Churchward had a vivid description of their existence. According to the writer, Mu was a continent that flourished between 50,000 and 12,000 years ago as a real world. In his words, Mu was dominated by a black race and was superior in many respects to our own. As if to further shock his audience, Churchward noted that Mu had over 64 million inhabitants, 7 major cities, and colonies on other continents. He explained how the 64 million people of the lost continent were divided into 10 tribes, but they followed a single government and had a single religion. But let's move forward to the big question. Where was Mu located? In the Pacific Ocean. You heard that right. Churchward revealed that the land of Mu was located in the Pacific Ocean, and it stretched east-west from the Marianas to Easter Island, and north to south from Hawaii to Mangaia. Not only did it spread across such vast land, but it was deduced by historians to be bigger than South America. Mu was that large, a continent. But it also begs the question, what was within this lost continent? Aside from the Naikal inhabitants within, this continent brimmed with natural life. Churchward recalled that the continent was a beautiful one with vast rivers, massive hills, and gorgeous plains. What started as sunburnt tablets with a strange language soon became the reference for an ancient civilization that birthed humans. But as you may already know, the testimony of one man, no matter how sincere, could not stand solely as evidence of a matter so controversial. So the questions kept coming in. If Churchward was right to back Augustus Le Plongeon in his claims of Mu being a mother civilization to humanity, what in the world happened to over 60 million inhabitants of a highly advanced civilization? Where did they all go? Churchward's response was staggering. They disappeared, he said. In his words, 12,000 years ago, Mu was completely obliterated in almost a single night. Wait, what? We were just as shocked. Churchward claimed that Mu faced a sudden series of earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Amid the disarray, the broken land fell into that great abyss of fire, and so it sank and was covered by over 50 million square miles of water. In one night, the great mother civilization that birthed ancient Egypt and other known civilizations had crumbled. But the more Churchward explained, the more implausible his cause sounded. If he did read about Mu from the tablets handed over by the Indian priest, where did the tablets go? Could they have been hidden away? Or did Churchward invent the whole story? Before you believe the latter, hold on. When everyone least expected it, more testimonies about Mu began to surface. One such remarkable testimonial was from the infamous mineralogist and archaeologist William Niven. Born in 1850, Niven lived to discover hidden minerals and stuck-away tablets. In 1921, Niven discovered the first of over 100 tablets while digging in San Miguel Amantla. On these tablets were texts in languages too complex to understand. But to the shock of many, one man could interpret them: James Churchward. Churchward claimed that the language resembled the one he initially learned from his priest friend in India. This led many to wonder, what if the Niven tablets were also written by descendants of the Mu civilization? Churchward confirmed that the text was similar to the Naga Maya language, but the ancient stones were not the only proof that Churchward had. When it comes to proof of Mu's existence, this is only the tip of the iceberg. Do you know that there are questionable structures underneath the Pacific Ocean? Imagine taking a trip to the Pacific Island and witnessing structures too defined to be attributed to nature. This was Churchward's next proof. The area deduced to be occupied by the Mu civilization had monuments that showed evidence of their existence. It made sense too. If Mu was real and as advanced as Churchward believed, then its people would have left behind traces of their knowledge. And they did leave traces bold enough to let us question all we believed about the true creation of mankind. The first outstanding evidence of the mother civilization is the Moai statues of Easter Island. The Moai are gigantic stone statues of human figures built by the Rapa Nui people of Easter Island. But these are no ordinary statues. One look at them, and you could tell that the people who built them did so with meticulous precision and quality materials. Built between 1250 and 1500 AD, these have an absurd figure. Oversized heads that make up 3 times the whole statue, and they have no legs. The tallest of the moai is called Paro, and it is about 10 meters high and weighs approximately 82 tons. Can you believe that? When the Rapa Nui people were asked about the inspiration for building such monuments, they revealed that the moai were created to honor their ancestors. But this was such a long time ago. So who were their ancestors, and where did they come from? This leads us right back to Mu. Since the geographical location of Easter Island also correlates with the location defined by Churchward, all hands are pointing to one big question. What if the Rapa Nui people were descendants of the lost continent called Mu? Think about it. How else could a civilization from that time think of building such towering statues without being taught how to do so by an older one? Let's not forget the primary material used to erect these magnificent statues, volcanic tuff. This is a relatively soft, workable rock formed from compressed volcanic ash. It is said that this tuff was brought from an extinct volcanic crater on the island known as Rano Raraku, and on that site the statues were built. However, historians noted a fresh concern. As diligent as the Rapa Nui people were in building such a timeless monument with the resources available then, it was humanly impossible to move the moai to where their remains currently reside. How did the Nui people do it? The tale from the natives would leave you shocked. The statues walked to their location, they said. When the oldest natives of Easter Island were asked about the mode of transportation of the moai, this was their response. According to their oral tradition, the moai did walk. But by now we all know that this is not a feasible explanation. Researchers Terry Hunt and Carl Lipo suggest that the statues were moved upright in a rocking motion using ropes. This is the closest alignment with the accounts of the islanders. Some scholars think otherwise and propose a different thought for transportation. What if the Rapa Nui used a system of logs to roll the statues to their destination? This method would have demanded lots of timber resources, but at least it was logical. The last suspected mode of transportation of these statues is the least believed, but it seems to be the one that Churchward loved the most: spiritual power. Some beliefs say that the moai contain spiritual forces that equip the statues to move themselves to their respective destinations. Churchward supported this trail of thought as he established from his tablet findings that although he thought mankind came from Mu, the mother civilization was no ordinary civilization. But if they were not ordinary humans like us, who were they?